Hello everyone, good evening, welcome to the Sporty Spotlight podcast. I am your host, Ranulph Bacon, joined by, once again, by the wonderful Surefire. So yeah, can I just say, Daniel, I was a bit lost without you. The other day. Like, I was thinking, I need to ask questions. I can't just ask
Yeah,
rhetorical questions to myself for an entire, half an hour, because that people start to think I'm mad. I think last time we went for 20 minutes, but yeah.
my YouTube thoughts were rhetorical questions to myself.
Yeah, check out his
But I'm
YouTube
glad to be
shorts.
back. I'm glad
Yeah,
to be back.
check out his YouTube shorts. If you need anything NFL, then that's the place to go. Any NFL football, it's beautiful. The shorts, check
On
out
there, hang on.
Surefire.
Don't leave me now. I've not got football on there. It's only NFL at the moment because the F1's on break.
Yeah, yeah. I might try and watch the Chiefs game. You got game on Christmas, right? It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
Might try and tune into
Steelers.
that. Anyway, so we
We're
got
going to lose.
plenty to talk about. First of all, as you can see, I am very prepared for the Christmas spirit.
I am very not prepared for
Ho
Christmas.
ho! My name is Canary Santa, and I'm going to be giving you the present of information tonight. So first of all, something to talk about with Norwich. So yeah, following on talking about how Kenny McLean's been suspended again for something that's absolutely ridiculous. It
Oh,
gets
yeah.
worse. It gets worse. Angus Gunn has been penalised for something that apparently went down between him and some random QPR player in the tunnel, and apparently I don't know, misconduct in his words or something like that. But it's all really ridiculous. But yeah, we don't need that. We don't need Angus out because he's already missed a portion of the season due to injury, which really affected our form. And that's just
You don't want George Long in goal?
yeah. No, I do not want George Long in goal. I love George Long. I love George Long, but I do not want him in goal week in, week out, because it just doesn't end well. I'm sorry. As you will know. Yes. So, it's honestly getting ridiculous now, with the amount of players that are getting suspended. Well, he hasn't actually been suspended yet. He's just been given until the 19th to respond, but it's
Oh,
just... I'm just annoyed about it, because it's taking a toll on our form. So
yeah.
the main sort of first discussion point, two Premier League managers and actually two ex-Norwich players were sacked from their respective jobs in one day. So Gary O'Neill swiftly followed up by Russell
Russell
Martin.
Martin played for Norwich.
Yes, he did. He was a Norwich legend, effectively. He
And
scored.
Gary O'Neill played for Norwich.
Yeah, Russell Martin
I didn't
scored at
know
Anfield.
either of those.
Yeah, yeah. So
I only knew Gary O'Neill used to play for West Ham.
yeah. Yeah, it was definitely coming, and do you think it would have happened sooner, or do you think if they were given more time, then it would have just got worse? Do you think either of these teams can turn their seasons around, or is it too much of a lost cause?
Gary O'Neill should have been sacked way sooner. He was just not good. As much as I respect him as he is a good manager, it just wasn't clicking with Wolves anymore. With the
Yeah,
squad they've got, they cannot be getting relegated like your
yeah,
Mateus Cunha's. Although I will go on and talk about Wolves in a second after I talk
Sporty,
about
yeah,
Russell Martin.
yeah,
But Russell Martin, I've seen him as good. I don't know if it was right. I'm in the middle because obviously they haven't won, but then obviously um they're trying to produce a style of football that isn't your boring old defensive ways just so you can stay up. He's trying to develop something. He was trying to develop something so they can play exciting football in the Premier League. But
yeah,
I'll go on to Wolves real quick before
yep,
we move on to anything. I'll actually say something instead of a good old host here. Um, what is up with Wolves? The amount of conflict with
yeah,
staff that they've had. Lamina starts it off. Then Cunha thinks he's right to steal a man's glasses.
yep, indeed,
What went on? They are
yeah.
broken.
Yeah, the players are just as much at fault as the manager. I was at that West Ham Wolves game, and it was just awful. Jared Bowen actually went up to Mario Lemina to try and shake his hand, and then he lashed out, and then he
Didn't
crashed
Bowen
out.
get sent off at the end there, or was that just me?
I'm pretty sure he did, but yeah, it was horrible. Really, it hurt to watch because you just wouldn't expect it from a professional footballer. You wouldn't expect a professional footballer to conduct themselves like that, and it's pathetic and it's childish.
That's not, yeah, that's not West Ham bias, D, but in all seriousness, yeah, it's just, you know, pointless, stupid, childish. There's
Yeah.
nothing, you shouldn't be doing that.
So on to the next point. Super Sunday was very certainly a very interesting one, and 2 minutes of madness. Man City 1, Manchester United 2.
Ah,
Man.
here we go again.
Ruben Amorim has passed his first really major test as Manchester
He did
United
that when
manager.
he was appointed as United manager and still at Sporty, and he beat him 4-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't get enough of beating this man.
But I think the person that we really need to talk about, Amad Diallo. Honestly,
Oh
in those
my
2 minutes, he just completely changed the game. It was remarkable, honestly, because like he's been absolutely brilliant over the last like 2 seasons or so. Because last season, of course, he scored that incredible last-minute winner against Liverpool in the FA Cup, and he's coming up with the moments again this season. And honestly, I think in the next couple of years, he could potentially be world class.
I've been shocked that like United haven't actually played Diallo as a starting role, a crucial player already. Like
Yeah.
you saw what he did at Sunderland a few years ago. He was absolutely thriving under them. He's been thriving when he plays for United. I don't get why he doesn't play. Like at first when I saw United's lineup came out against City, I'm shocked. Like Garnacho ain't in there. I'm not really shocked Rashford's in there. If I'm being honest, I just don't rate him as a player. But no, Diallo should be a crucial player for United for sure every day.
Yeah, speaking of Sunderland, now you bring them up, I honestly think that
They're falling apart.
no, nah. On the contrary, potentially, like with how they're doing this season, they could potentially be back in the Prem next season. Like very potentially. Like if like they sort of do a Leicester where they sort of start really strongly and then fall off and then they get that momentum back towards the end.
My friend that supports Leicester won't be happy you just said that.
Yeah, I've got mates sports Leicester as well, but
But it's going to go well for the pair of us then.
yeah, if for example, if Amorim doesn't think that Ahmad fits into his plans, do you think he could like maybe send him back to Sunderland? Like if he
Not back to
likes that, or do you think or do you think like if he keeps going this way and he doesn't get into Amorim's plans, then he could potentially go to another English team or potentially a different European club.
He'll if he doesn't play under Amorim like properly, then I see him not just loan out because this is what United have done every time. They loan out this guy again and again and again, and he does well every single time.
Yep.
And then they never play him. So I feel like he'll be sold if he's not in Amorim's plans here. Let me think though. Where would he go? I mean, he wouldn't go Southampton as much as he'd probably fly. Like maybe a mid-table Prem side, maybe someone that's in the need of a not so old winger. I mean, Harry Wilson for Fulham. I'm not saying he's bad, but let's. Would you rather Amad Diallo or Harry Wilson? I
I'd
think
probably
you know
go with
your
Ahmad.
answer. Yeah, a bit of a tight competition.
Yeah. So next major point to point out. So
Okay.
Des Buckingham has been sacked from his role as the Oxford United manager. It was definitely coming because the amount of goals they were conceding at home. They lost 6-2 at home to Middlesbrough a couple of weeks ago, and they just lost 3-1 at home to Sheffield Wednesday. So it was on the way. But do you think that Oxford should have given him a bit more time, or do you think it was the right decision?
Right decision, in my opinion, because well, as much as I rated him, I feel like it was a bit harsh because let's be honest, we all expect Oxford United to not even do this good at the start of the season. We expect them to get their first win probably about in the most wonderful time in Christmas.
Yeah.
In Christmas. Very tuneful by me. But Des Buckingham, I mean, that gives Millwall another managerial option, actually. So thanks, Oxford. Um, I'll go on to Millwall in a sec. But I feel like it's the right decision because the way he started, you thought he'd do better. But these last 8 games, he's kind of hit reality.
Yeah.
But on to Millwall. We have appointed our proper interim manager.
Oh, yep, go on.
Because Millwall obviously needs to announce the interim instead of looking for a actual manager. Instead of Adam Barrett, oh my god, I don't want him. We got Livermore, not Jake. How have I forgotten his name? He literally played for us. I want to say it's David, but I think I'm wrong. Don't worry about it. A Livermore is our interim manager, but I heard our favourite now. We are going for Michael Skabala from Lincoln.
I'm pretty sure it is David.
Oh, I'm good at this. Knew it. Never doubt
Never
me.
doubted you for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never doubt me for a second.
So remind me who you potentially going for as your permanent?
Permanent, we've got Bloomfield top of our list. I mean, I wouldn't mind if we somehow, in some way, got O'Neill or Martin, but it probably won't happen. Skabala, the Walsall manager that I've forgotten the name of. Mark Robbins is on there. We've got a lot of people, but I bet you will get the worst one on there. So cheers.
Okay, so do you think they could potentially either of them could potentially be in charge for our massive Boxing Day clash?
What, Livermore or my
Or
managerial
any
options?
of the just mean any of the permanent ones
Oh,
that you mentioned.
Who plays the most defensive would be my answer. Mark Robbins. Mark Robbins. There you go.
Yeah, Mark Robbins. Norwich legend. That'll be interesting. So
Yeah. Smash Norwich out the park.
Yeah. So now let's get on to goal of the week for this week. And for this week, we've got to go with Zion Fleming against us.
Zion,
isn't it?
You mean Zian Fleming?
Zian. Oh my god, I'm losing my head. I'm sorry. Zian Fleming. So yeah, Zian Fleming's goal against Norwich was a very, very crisp, and it was a lovely strike. But there's just
My mate was at that game right behind the goal.
There was just one really annoying thing about it. It was preventable. It was very, very preventable. There was a lot more that the Norwich players could have done about it. But like that line, that defensive wall was just more. That defensive wall was so unorganised, and no one was marking him. In fact, you know what? The marking on Fleming for that goal was worse than probably some of the marks I'll get on my mock exams. Yeah, it's bad.
That is something.
But
I mean, I did just have a technical difficulty then, but we knew.
Yeah, we switched off, and Burnley they made us play. They made us pay. They're not and that was the interesting thing about the football that Scott Parker is playing over there. It's very nice.
Not good.
Yeah, well, it can be. They don't need to like.
What you should do, is just get defensive. Just get defensive. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you could beat Burnley 1-0 like some really good team in the Championship game.
Yeah, that's like they're so defensive. Like we're like the second team that scored against them all season. I'm pretty sure.
That's a lie.
Well, I don't know. Like well, like very few teams have scored against them.
We're one of them.
Yeah. Lap it up.
I will be.
So, yeah, truly disappointing. But it's still been. I thought it was still a half decent performance from Norwich until we switched off. I thought that we were worthy of at least a point, but yeah, I think we really should have equalised towards the end with, Emi Marcondes missed a chance in the 6-yard box, and I can imagine he probably lost sleep over that, as did all of us. So, yeah, it was...
All I want to say from that goal was that if only Fleming would have done that for Millwall, then I would have appreciated him a lot more. Of course, he goes and does that when he leaves us. He's going to become like a top player now.
Yeah. Yeah, it could potentially, like, if Burnley get back into the Prem next season, and then if they get relegated again, then I can see him potentially going to a team like Brentford. Maybe it's like sort of start off and then work his way up the ladder.
Yeah.
So, yeah, last night, West Ham fans were treated to no different. A 1-1 draw against Bournemouth, which West Ham shouldn't have even had an opportunity to score in because they were just that bad. Bournemouth were that dominant, which is truly pathetic. In fact, beforehand, the West Ham board said they wouldn't mind if they lost this game. They were treating it like some sort of free hit because they were basically saying we are not doing well and we're playing against a very good team. And honestly, I found that embarrassing. from the West Ham board, because like against a team like Bournemouth, I'm sorry, but we should be. West Ham are a team that are much bigger than Bournemouth and should be comfortably winning against them. Like in potential on paper, they've spent much less money than much less money than Tim Steidten did, and they're 7th in the table, and we're rotting in mid-table.
I'm going to give you a cold quote right here.
Yeah, go on.
Money does not get you 3 points.
Yeah, that's true. Well done. Well said. Well said.
It's Iraola and not Lopetegui.
Yeah. If only Man City is starting to realise that now, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, it was truly. But to be honest, that free kick from Unal was very, very crisp. It was very nice, but yeah. Man of the match last night, even though that free kick was, absolutely brilliant. Lucas Fabianski, I think he's been absolutely brilliant over the last couple of weeks, because he's on like the last end of his career. But like since Alphonse Areola's been injured, he's been. I've loved watching him play.
That's fair enough. Fair enough indeed. Fabianski, I would say I hate him because he plays for West Ham, but on a serious note, he is a good player. He has been a very good keeper for years. He's just done perfect. I'm not saying he's like the best goalie in the world, but he gets the job done. It's what a keeper's meant to do.
Yes, of course.
I'm so worried my phone is about to die.
Yeah.
Hang on. Quick recap. We're on 4. We're all good.
Yep. So, let's potentially look at some of the results from the lower leagues. So the major result from probably the League One weekend, Wigan beat Bolton in their local derby.
I saw that.
Yeah, so they're to be honest, it was sort of a game between two teams that don't really have any like major direction at the moment, if you know what I mean. So like, do you think there's like anything that either of those teams can salvage from this season?
Bolton need playoffs. It's playoffs at the minimum. They should have got promoted last year, and it was just poor by Ian Ever. In my opinion, I'm not a fan of him because he thinks I'm going to be that guy. But Ian Ever has not been great. Bolton are getting promoted or they're sacking him.
Yeah.
That's last resort. Wigan, their financial ways is probably going to say mid-table is the best for them.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Well, but not essentially because Wigan, they've been in this hole for a number of years since they went into administration, and they're still digging themselves out of it. Honestly, like points deductions.
Wanted to save on that.
There and then. So yeah, certainly an interesting result in League Two. Certain teams seem to play like decent football when they want to. Salford, they beat Notts County 3-0.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they're currently where are they in the table? They are currently 12th in the league, but they're playing good football and they want to. I saw them at Colchester, and even though that was honestly just a game between two pretty rubbish teams, honestly, who were just pretty poor on the day, but Salford were just the better. Yeah, they're currently they're 4 points off the top 7, and they've got certainly a very, very spicy and specific FA Cup fixture coming up, which will be certainly quite interesting. Gary Neville being that away end, and we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, I do really like watching some of the lower leagues whenever I can. I like going down to Colchester when like to go and watch them, and they're underrated if you ask me, because they're not as glamorous as the Championship or the Premier League, but it's still football.
Championship will be the best.
Yeah, not always.
Yes, it will. You're just sad because Forum can't get you wins every week.
Shut up! Oh my god. Okay, I was not going into this thinking.
You was not here for abuse by a Millwall fan.
So
I'm sorry.
I was thinking of Yeah, you just make me when you talk about Thorpe's football, you just make me think of that glorious October. Oh my god, we just beat Hull 4-0. And we beat Watford 4-1 on the 21st of September. Yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Shows how injuries it just shows how injuries and suspensions affect you, because it was a
Yeah.
completely different story after McLean got sent off in that
Yeah.
decisive game. So I
Never
don't really,
realised how he was until then.
yeah. So I don't really think there's any lower league. I don't think there's any
It's all
this week, is there?
it's all the EFL trophy nonsense. I don't
Yeah,
get it.
fair
I
enough.
loved when it used to be called the Papa John's Trophy because it always reminded me that I needed a pizza.
Yeah, Johnston's paint trophy is the primal version. That's the
Yeah.
prime.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Champions League, I think's on though, isn't there? And all the
I
Europeans.
don't think so. They usually have the EFL and the UEFA stuff in the same week.
Oh, what have I done?
Oh no, what have you done?
No, wait, have I got that wrong?
Oh dear, what's happened?
No, I mean, have I got the European fixtures wrong?
I
Please.
think you have. Wait a
Oh,
minute.
this is a nightmare. And I've
Oh
had
no.
another technical difficulty looking at my percentage.
Oh no. Oh god. But
Tell me.
yeah, so on
Oh, see you
Saturday,
Monday. Joking.
yeah,
That's it.
on Saturday, certainly of course the championship tie that you'll have your focus on, Blackburn Rovers at home. That'll be certainly an interesting game. I'd say look out for Todd Cantwell.
I just don't want to. I just don't want to watch that. Blackburn. I'm my worst team since 2 years ago, which I don't want to talk about.
Okay, yeah, well, we won't talk about that. Nah.
Funny that George Long was in goal.
Eh.
Oh.
Oh god, he's getting PTSD live on camera here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to therapy session. I'll see you
I'm
lot.
sorry, buddy.
That was Boy Spotlight. I'll have you lot later. Joking. Right, let's do it.
Yeah. So in this weekend, to be honest, I'm probably more scared than you. This weekend, Norwich City go take that ridiculously long journey up north to take on the Black Cats, aka Sunderland AFC.
Oh, fun.
I've watched that documentary. It's a catchy chant, honestly.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that.
Yeah, the only thing that I can see Norwich getting at the Stadium of Light is the old 1-2 right now, because we are not capable of getting wins on the road. We just never have. I mean, fair, we beat Derby 3-2, but like that's like it was like the away form has just been a problem for. I don't think it's ever not going to be a problem. It's just the Achilles heel that just seems to just set us back season after season after season, and it's just jarring. That's all I can really say. Yeah. So in the
Premier League.
What was that, mate?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the big Premier League fixture.
I
I don't know if there is one. I was
think
kind
there
of,
is. Yeah,
kind of I kind of buffed that.
It's quite a fairly.
Is it West Ham losing this week and Lopetegui hopefully getting the sack?
Yes, Brighton at home. You know that's gonna be interesting. Yeah,
I think Hursley's right. You know.
They're coming off a pretty bad result. By the way, can I just say, in that Brighton Palace game,
Yeah.
Dean Henderson is underrated, I think.
Oh, I know. I've been saying it for ages. Dean Henderson is honestly. How can you not say he's a good goalkeeper?
Yeah, the saves he was making in that game, he was unbelievable. Man of the match.
Why does United's bench for so long is a better question.
It's ridiculous, really. Yeah, it's mad. And they're
What a FIFA card though, back in like FIFA 21.
Yeah,
It's 80 rated.
Yeah, they're regretting letting him go now. I hope most likely, because Andre Onana's starting to show those sort of mistakes that he was making last year. They're sort of starting to like creep into his playing style again. Like we saw it against Forest, and like if that continues, then they're gonna have problems.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I'd say probably there's the 4:30 kickoff on Sunday the 22nd.
4:30 is such a weird kickoff. I'm sorry, but that just is.
Yeah, fair enough.
Why about 3 o'clock and then just like 7:30 or something like that? That would do.
Yeah. Tottenham Liverpool.
Ooh.
Yeah. So.
After Tottenham just got Russell Martin the sack, I'd be pretty scared if I had Liverpool.
Yeah.
Especially after their game against Fulham, they've got no Andy Robertson, but
Dude.
I'm not sure if Tsimikas is injured. If he's not, then Liverpool do have a good chance still.
Yeah. So another one worth looking out for: Midlands derby, Leicester versus Wolves. So Do you think?
Ooh.
Do you know who Wolves have got in as like their interim manager?
Oh, I think they actually got a manager. I've forgotten his name. He's Portuguese. Well, well, well. But he's a guy from Al Shabab.
Uh-huh.
That's what, like Al Kebab. Fancy kebab.
I can't
But
order one right now. I'm starving.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Al Shabab manager. I've forgotten his name though, but I think they appointed him today, or that's set to be announced. I'm not sure if it has been yet.
Yeah.
That's enough for
And
Brazil Romano.
yeah. And kicking off the Premier League week, Premier League weekend. 12:30 kickoff. Aston Villa against Manchester City. So a chance for Man City to bounce
Man
back
City to lose again.
because but yeah, the thing is
Different
like
opinions
Villa.
there.
Villa, they've sort of slowed down over the last couple of weeks. Champions League football's definitely taken a toll on
Yeah,
their.
that's what I was literally about to say. I'm saying, you know
Yeah,
how Newcastle got into that top four, and then they suddenly got no Europe this season. Last season, sorry, because I'm guessing the Champions League really took a toll on their fitness. Sound like I said fitness on the players. I'm not saying Villa's going to have the same scenario. I feel like they're still going to get Europe because I know they've struggled recently, but I'm sure they'll bounce back.
yeah.
Fair
And
enough.
speaking of there's a certain Villa player that I just want to talk about before we
Duran.
finish off. No, not John Duran. He's definitely solidified in that squad. That's for certain.
Is it Ollie Watkins being transferred out my FPL team?
No, nah, keep him in there. He comes up with the good moments when you need him
Yeah,
to.
well, Duran's starting now. I've had enough.
Yeah. But yeah, there's one player that I think that a certain team in yellow and green should try and re-sign in the transfer window. I think
Buendia.
he's yes, Emi Buendia.
Oh, I'm a genius.
Yeah,
You're not getting him, just saying.
it's becoming quite evident that he could potentially be like approaching an exit in January, and he could. Where do you think he'd like go realistically? Like, if not the Championship, then where else? What are
Well,
his other options?
you don't really know his quality because Villa didn't really play him. That's the
Yeah, that's
problem.
the thing. They paid
You
30
don't know what
million
he's
for
made
him,
of.
and they hardly played him. Well, to be fair,
No.
he was injured for a large portion, but he's not really getting into Unai Emery's teams.
Yeah, if Leicester obviously didn't have El Kanous, Makatir, Mavadidi, all these brilliant wingers, then I'm sure he would go somewhere like there. But then I don't know. I mean, he could probably make it back to Norwich,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure.
I think he'd be happy to, as well, because the fans loved him and he was loving life. He played the best football of his entire career at Norwich, and
Hmm.
he could potentially do something like that again. In fact, you know what? I think that Norwich this January, I think we're capable of doing a
I'm going to
decent
be
bit.
sitting in a relegation scrap.
I think we should try and not only Buendia. Look, he's probably the least realistic out of these three that I'm saying that Norwich should try and go out for again, because they're not getting game time at their clubs, potentially just for loans if they like want to come back. Even though we have talked about players going out on loan and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
but Max Aarons,
Oh,
Andrew
no chance.
Omobamidele,
Who's the other one?
Andrew Omobamidele,
That's yeah, Omo Bamidele. Yeah, those two aren't happening.
right?
Omo Bamidele is not going to be there. I have lagged so bad there. I
Yeah. Well,
apologise.
what are you saying? Why are you saying that neither of the two will occur?
Um, uh, Max Aaron and Omo. Oh, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Andrew. Um, Max Aaron and Andrew will not happen because it's just not happen. They're too young. They will not come back. But D is the most realistic option, if being
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, he is approaching his 30s now, and yeah, could be potentially like entering a time where it's prime or never at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All or
so
nothing.
all or nothing, absolutely. So, we still on for hopefully doing Saturday. We are hoping to take a little trip if you're still available for it.
I should be.
Good. I hope I am
Maybe.
as well, even though I have got concert that day. So,
Oh, I've forgotten that. I've actually forgot to remind my parents, but we'll get there.
yeah, we'll discuss this in private.
Yeah, you lot can't know about this, guys.
Yeah, of course.
This is a private matter to
It
my
will
well-being.
it will be revealed in
Yeah.
the coming days. So, thank you very much for tuning in tonight, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this episode tonight.
I think they've enjoyed me being back.
Yeah, they enjoyed. You know, it was just empty without you. Honestly, you like Eminem. It would just be so empty without me. You know, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that
So,
was a nice feeling.
so thanks very much for watching tonight. Hope you have enjoyed. Please consider liking and subscribing to both our channels, and we'll see you all in the next one. Good night.
So yeah.